The little girl points directly at her, past the Korean beauty queens, past the flawless resumes, past every safe choice, and says the words that will burn Kang Min-ho's carefully controlled world to ash. The Mafia boss freezes. His daughter has never defied him. And the American woman standing at the end of the line, curves wrapped in a simple dress that suddenly feels like armor, meets his eyes with something he hasn't seen in years. Someone who isn't afraid of him. His chest tightens. His hands clench. Something cracks open inside him that he thought he'd buried with his wife. Welcome to Black in Korea Stories, besties. Please like, share, and subscribe. 6 women stand in a perfect line, but Kang Min-ho can only see one of them. He tells himself it's because she doesn't belong here. The 5 Korean candidates wear designer clothes and practiced smiles, credentials gleaming like freshly polished weapons. They know how to stand, how to bow, how to make themselves invisible and indispensable in the homes of powerful men. The woman at the end of the line knows none of these things. Isabella Kingsley stands like she's ready to fight or flee. Her navy dress is simple, probably the nicest thing she owns, and it does nothing to hide the curves that make Min-ho's mouth go dry. Her skin is deep brown, rich and warm against the sterile whites of his penthouse. Natural hair pulled back, silver hoops catching light, full lips pressed together in an expression that isn't quite defiance but isn't submission either. She meets his eyes, and something electric passes between them. Min-ho looks away first. This irritates him more than he can articulate. "Sir," his assistant Yi-sung murmurs, "should I begin the formal interviews?" Min-ho doesn't answer. His attention has shifted to the small hand gripping his sleeve. His daughter, Soo-yeon, 5 years old and silent for 8 months. She hasn't spoken since watching her mother die in a car accident. Therapists call it selective mutism brought on by trauma. Min-ho calls it his greatest failure. But right now, Soo-yeon isn't looking at him. She's staring at Isabella Kingsley with an intensity that makes the hair rise on Min-ho's neck. "Soo-yeon." He keeps his voice soft, gentle, the voice reserved only for her. "You may choose." Other candidates exchange glances. This isn't protocol. Min-ho always makes the final decision himself. He trusts no one with things that matter, but his daughter is already moving. She releases his sleeve and walks forward on patent leather shoes that make no sound on marble. Past Kim Yoona with her master's degree in child psychology. Past Lee Yoonbai, who speaks 4 languages. Past 3 other women whose names Min-ho has already forgotten because none of them made his chest tight. None of them made him forget how to breathe. Soo-yeon stops in front of Isabella. The American woman's composure cracks. Loss of surprise, then something softer. She glances at Min-ho, asking permission with her eyes. He nods. Isabella crouches slowly, bringing herself to Soo-yeon's level. "Hello, sweetheart, I'm Isabella, but my friends call me Bella." Soo-yeon studies her face with the intensity only children possess. Then, in a voice so quiet the room strains to hear it, she speaks her first words in 8 months. "You're pretty like chocolate." Min-ho stops breathing. Isabella's smile blooms slowly, reaching her eyes. "And you're pretty like moonlight." Soo-yeon turns. She points at Isabella, then walks back to her father with the determined stride of a child who has made up her mind. She tugs his sleeve once, hard. Min-ho understands. "Thank you all for your time," he tells the other 5 candidates. His voice has shifted, the soft father replaced by the Kang family heir, the man who controls half of Seoul's underground economy. "You will be compensated for your trouble. Park Yi-sung will see you out." One of them, Kim Yoona, opens her mouth to protest. Min-ho's eyes cut to her, and whatever she sees there makes her swallow her words. The elevator doors close on 5 confused, resentful women. Isabella remains. "Miss Kingsley." Min-ho rises and she tracks the movement like prey watching a predator. Good instincts. "Please, sit. Prefer to stand while we discuss terms." His eyebrow rises. "We haven't established that you have the position." "Daughter chose me. You told her she could choose." Isabella's chin lifts. "Unless your word means nothing." Silence could cut glass. No one speaks to Kang Min-ho this way. Men have lost fingers for less. But instead of rage, Min-ho feels something unfamiliar tugging at the corner of his mouth. "My word," he says slowly, "is the only currency I deal in. Then I have the position. You have a trial period. 6 months, room and board included." He gestures to the chair across from his desk. "Sit, please, I don't negotiate standing up." She considers refusing. He sees it in her eyes, the calculation, the stubborn pride. Then she sits, crossing her legs in a way that makes his gaze drop for half a second before he forces it back to her face. Soo-yeon immediately abandons Min-ho to stand beside Isabella's chair. The betrayal shouldn't sting. It does. Your credentials are unusual, Min-ho says, pulling her file. Bachelor's from Howard, master's from Columbia, 4 years as a crisis counselor for foster children in New York. He looks up. And then you vanished. Moved to Korea 8 months ago. Working as an English tutor in Itaewon for a fraction of what you're worth. Isabella's expression doesn't change, but her fingers press together in her lap. Why? Personal reasons. That's not an answer. It's the only one I'm offering. They stare at each other. The tension shifts, becomes something else. Charged. Electric. Min-ho becomes suddenly, viscerally aware of details he shouldn't notice. The pulse in her throat, the way her collarbone catches shadow, the slight flush spreading across her cheeks. He wants to trace that flush with his tongue. The thought shocks him. He hasn't wanted anyone since his wife died. He thought that part of him was buried with her, apparently not. Position requires you to live in this building, he says, his voice rougher than intended. 29th floor, you'll have access to all common areas, but certain floors are restricted. He pauses. My business is my own. I'm not interested in your business. Everyone is interested in my business, usually to their detriment. I'm interested in your daughter, that's all. Something about the way she says it, fierce, protective, makes his hands clench under the desk. She hasn't spoken in 8 months, he says quietly. Not to me, not to anyone. Her mother died in an accident. Soo-yeon was in the backseat. He stops, the words tangle in his throat. Trauma doesn't care about physical wounds. Isabella's voice softens. Sometimes the invisible ones cut deepest. Can you help her? The question comes out raw, vulnerable. He hates himself for asking it, but he hates his daughter's silence more. Isabella looks at Soo-yeon, who watches this exchange with solemn attention. She reaches out slowly, giving the child time to pull away, and brushes a strand of hair from her face. Soo-yeon leans into the touch. I don't know, Isabella says honestly, but I'm going to try. Min-ho realizes in that moment that he's in serious trouble. 3 days later, Isabella moves into the most dangerous place she's ever lived. The suite is larger than her entire apartment building in Itaewon. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a kitchen she'll never use. Floor-to-ceiling windows offering a view of Seoul that should make her feel powerful. Instead, she feels watched. She unpacks her single suitcase in 20 minutes. The framed photograph of her mother goes on the nightstand. The only memento she grabbed when she fled New York 8 months ago. Don't think about Marcus. Don't think about what he did. A soft knock interrupts her spiral. She opens the door to find Soo-yeon standing alone in the hallway, clutching a stuffed rabbit that looks loved nearly to death. The child is wearing silk pajamas, and it's 10 o'clock at night. Isabella's instincts flare. Does your daddy know you're here? Soo-yeon shakes her head. Are you supposed to be in bed? A nod. Can you tell me what's wrong? The child's lower lip trembles. She holds out the rabbit. Isabella takes it gently. One eye missing, stitching loose at the ear. And a fresh tear in its belly stuffing peeking through. Your bunny is hurt, Isabella says. Soo-yeon nods vigorously. And you want me to help? Another nod. Something warm blooms in Isabella's chest. This child who hasn't spoken in 8 months, who watched her mother die, came to her, trusted her. Let's get you back upstairs first, Isabella says. Then we'll fix your bunny together. Soo-yeon produces a keycard from her pajama pocket with casual confidence. The elevator doors open to chaos. Min-ho is in the penthouse living room, still in his suit, speaking rapid Korean into his phone. His voice is ice. 2 men in black suits stand near the hallway, and a woman Isabella recognizes as the night nurse is crying while explaining something to a third. Min-ho sees them first. His eyes lock on Soo-yeon, then on their joined hands, then on Isabella. The phone call ends mid-sentence. He crosses the room in seconds, crouching before his daughter with desperate hands. Where were you? His voice cracks. The nurse said you were sleeping. I was about to. She came to my suite, Isabella says calmly. She has a keycard and she brought me this. She holds up the rabbit. Min-ho's rage flickers, shifts, becomes something more complex. She came to you, he repeats slowly. On her own. She wants me to fix him. His name is Bun Bun. Min-ho stares at his daughter. Soo-yeon shrinks back, pressing closer to Isabella's legs. Get a sewing kit, Isabella says. You should come too. She needs to know you care. Something moves behind his eyes. Surprise, gratitude, and underneath something hotter that he quickly suppresses. Lead the way. Soo-yeon's bedroom is a fantasy of pink and white, but there's a sadness to it. A room frozen in time, existing rather than living. The sewing kit is in the closet. Soo-yeon retrieves it and presents it to Isabella, not her father. Min-ho watches this with an expression Isabella can't read. She sits at the small desk, threading a needle. Basic stitching, nothing fancy. The tier is simple enough. His name is Bun Bun. Isabella looks up sharply. Soo-yeon has spoken again. Quietly but spoken, Min-ho goes completely still. That's a perfect name, Isabella says, continuing to sew. How long have you had him? Silence. Then, my mama gave him to me before she went to heaven. Isabella's fingers pause. She glances at Min-ho. His face has turned to stone, but his eyes are breaking. Your mama had good taste, Isabella says softly. Bun Bun is clearly very special. Soo-yeon nods. Then, barely audible, he was in the car too. Room holds its breath. When Mama went to heaven, there was a loud noise, and then Mama wouldn't wake up, but Bun Bun stayed with me. He kept me safe until Daddy came. Tears stream silently down Min-ho's face. He doesn't move. Isabella finishes the last stitch, ties off the thread. Good as new. Bun Bun is very brave. Soo-yeon clutches him to her chest. Then she looks at her father. Daddy cries at night too. I hear him. Ho makes a sound like he's been stabbed. I don't want him to be sad anymore. Soo-yeon looks at Isabella. Can you fix him like you fixed Bun Bun? The question hangs in the air, impossible and hopeful. I don't think people can be fixed the same way, Isabella says carefully. But I think being sad together helps, having people who understand. Soo-yeon considers this. Then she crawls across the bed to her father, climbs into his lap, and wraps her arms around his neck. Min-ho crumbles. He holds his daughter like she's the only thing keeping him alive. His shoulders shake. Soo-yeon pats his back with the seriousness of a child performing sacred duty. It's okay, Daddy. Bella is here now. She'll help us. Over his daughter's head, Min-ho looks at Isabella. Something passes between them. A door opening that neither meant to unlock. She's in trouble. And she doesn't want to be saved. The first month passes in a rhythm Isabella slowly learns. Mornings, breakfast with Soo-yeon while Min-ho's absence leaves evidence of his presence. Handwritten notes, fresh flowers, newspapers folded to the comics. Days, play therapy disguised as play. Art projects. Walks in parks with guards who keep respectful distance. Soo-yeon speaks more each day. Not consistently, but progress measured in sentences where there once was silence. Evenings, unpredictable. Min-ho returns at varying times, and when he does, he gravitates toward wherever they are. Sits in corners while Isabella reads bedtime stories. Appears in the kitchen while they bake, rolling up sleeves to help despite clearly having never baked anything in his life. He watches her constantly. She tells herself it's gratitude. His daughter is healing. She's the catalyst. But gratitude doesn't explain the way his gaze drops to her mouth when she speaks. Doesn't explain the reasons he finds to stand close enough that she catches his scent. Sandalwood, smoke, something underneath that's purely him. It doesn't explain why she looks for him when he's not there. On the 23rd night of her employment, Isabella is reading in the penthouse library when Min-ho finds her, nearly midnight. Soo-yeon asleep for hours. Isabella should be in her own suite, but the library called to her thousands of books in a dozen languages, a collection that speaks to genuine scholarship. Awake, she looks up. Min-ho stands in the doorway, tie loosened, top button undone. Exhausted, dangerous. More handsome than any man has a right to be. So are you. He walks to the bar cart, pours whiskey, holds up the bottle in question. She shouldn't. She nods anyway. He brings her a glass, sitting across from her. The library is dim, only her reading lamp and the shadows soften his hard edges. She said 3 full sentences today, Isabella says. About butterflies. Told me at dinner. His voice catches. She tells me things now because of you. She's doing the work. I'm just creating space. You're doing more than that. His eyes meet hers. I don't know how to repay you. It's my job. What you're doing isn't a job. I've had nannies, therapists, every expert money can buy. He leans forward. None of them made her speak. None of them made her come alive. Weight of his attention is physical. Mr. Kang Min-ho, please, we've moved past formality. Have we? You've seen me cry. You've mended my daughter's rabbit at midnight. His voice drops. I think we've moved past formality. Isabella sets down her whiskey. Her heart beats too fast. Tell me something, she says suddenly. Something real, something you haven't told anyone. Question surprises him. She watches him decide whether to deflect. I haven't slept through the night since the accident, he says finally. 8 months of nightmares about holding her hand while he stops, breathes. I keep thinking if I'd been a better husband, if I'd been home more, if I'd driven her myself. It wasn't your fault. You don't know that. No guilt. I know what it sounds like when someone carries weight they don't deserve. She leans forward. You didn't cause the accident. Something in his expression cracks. You sound certain. Learned the hard way. His eyes sharpen. The personal reasons, the ones that brought you to Korea. Will you tell me? She should say no, should maintain distance. Should remember that the last powerful man she trusted nearly destroyed her. But something about the darkness, the late hour, the whiskey, something makes her reckless. I was engaged. His name was Marcus, prosecutor in Manhattan, connected, charming. Everyone said we were perfect. Her voice hardens. I found out he was working with a trafficking ring, using his position to protect them for money. What happened? I went to his superiors, but he had friends. The investigation disappeared. My career ended overnight. Her hands clench. He made it clear that if I stayed in New York, things would get much worse. So you ran. I survived. Min-ho is quiet for a long moment. His expression shifts, the vulnerability replaced by something darker. What was his full name? Why? Because men who abuse power should face consequences. And I have resources your justice system lacks. She stares at him. He means it. He would destroy Marcus, not because it benefits him, but because she was hurt. I didn't tell you so you could fix it, she says carefully. It would give me pleasure. Min-ho, she uses his name deliberately. I told you because you asked for something real. He absorbs this. His knuckles are white around his glass. I don't like feeling powerless, he admits. When someone I care about is hurting and I can't, he stops. When someone matters, I want to protect them. Someone I care about, someone matters, the words hang between them. I can protect myself, Isabella says quietly. I've been doing it for 8 months. I know, but you shouldn't have to do it alone. Library is too warm, too intimate. She becomes aware of the space between them, just a few feet easily crossed. What about you? She asks. Who protects you? The question catches him off guard. She watches him search for an answer. Don't need protection, he says finally. I am the protection. That sounds lonely. His jaw tightens. It is. Vulnerability in those 2 words undoes something in her. It doesn't have to be, she says before she can stop herself. Min-ho goes very still. His eyes search her face. Isabella. Her name in his voice is a warning, a question, a prayer. You work for me. I know, this would be complicated. I know. I'm not a good man, the things I've done. I know enough. She stands. He stands with her, automatic, drawn. I know you love your daughter more than your own life. I know you haven't touched me despite wanting to. I know you asked about my past because you actually cared. That's a low bar. Most men, not for the ones who have hurt me. Too close now. She's not sure who moved, but suddenly he's right there. 6 feet of dangerous man looking at her like she's the only thing that matters. This is a terrible idea, he murmurs. His hand rises, hovers near her cheek. Probably. You should go back to your suite, lock the door, forget this happened. That what you want? His laugh is raw. What I want would terrify you. Me. His hand makes contact, fingers brushing her jaw so gently she might have imagined it. But the electricity is unmistakable. I want to keep you, he says. Not just for Soo-yeon, I want to know what you dream about. What your skin tastes like at 3 in the morning. I want to be the one standing between you and anything that might hurt you forever. Isabella's breath catches. That's intense. I warned you. So close she can feel his heat through her clothes, can see his pulse jumping in his throat. We barely know each other, she whispers. I know, but I've never felt this. Not even with, he closes his eyes. This is like drowning and I don't want to be saved. She should step back. Should remember every lesson she learned from Marcus. Instead, she rises on her toes and presses her lips to his. It's supposed to be a test. But his arms come around her, and he makes a sound against her mouth. Desperate, grateful, hungry, and suddenly it's not a test at all. It's an answer. He kisses her like she's air and he's been drowning. His hands spread across her back, pulling her closer, and Isabella gasps at the feeling of him. Hard muscle, barely contained strength, trembling with restraint. She's never been kissed like this, like she's precious and dangerous all at once, like he's been waiting his entire life for this exact moment. Then he pulls back. Wait, his breathing is ragged. Not like this. What? Not a late-night mistake, not something you regret in the morning. His forehead rests against hers. If this happens when this happens, I want you to choose it, sober, in daylight, knowing exactly who I am. I know who you are. You know pieces. You don't know what being with me means. He pulls back enough to meet her eyes. It means enemies who will target you, a world you can't imagine, my daughter needing to approve. If she doesn't, she already has. His smile is soft, vulnerable. She chose you before I did. Isabella's heart pounds so hard she can feel it in her throat. Need to think, she says. Of course, take all the time you need. He steps back, creating distance that feels like cold water. I'm not going anywhere. If I decide it's too much, his expression doesn't change, but she sees what it costs him. Then I'll respect that. Wanting you doesn't give me the right to have you. She walks to the door, pauses with her hand on the frame. Min-ho, yes. The drowning thing, I feel it too. She doesn't look back. But she hears his sharp intake of breath, and it carries her all the way to her suite. She doesn't sleep. She doesn't need to. Something inside her is already awake. The morning after, Isabella finds a single white rose outside her door. No note. She doesn't need one. Soo-yeon notices immediately. Children always do. You look different today, the little girl announces over breakfast, studying Isabella with sharp, dark eyes. Your face is glowy. Isabella nearly chokes on her coffee. Glowy? Like when Daddy looks at Mama's picture sometimes. Happy sad. Soo-yeon takes a bite of pancake. Did something good happen? I had a nice conversation with your daddy last night. What kind of conversation? The grown-up kind. Soo-yeon looks deeply skeptical, but lets it go. They're in the middle of finger painting when the penthouse elevator chimes. Isabella looks up expecting Min-ho, heart jumping despite herself. The woman who steps out is not Min-ho. She's stunning in the way Korean beauty standards celebrate. Tall, slender, flawless skin, designer dress that costs more than Isabella's yearly salary. She walks into the penthouse like she owns it, eyes sweeping past Isabella as if she's furniture. Then she sees Soo-yeon. Soo-yeon, her voice drips honey. My darling girl, I've missed you. Soo-yeon freezes. Her hand, covered in purple paint, hovers in midair. The brightness that's been slowly returning to her face shudders like a slamming window. Isabella rises immediately, positioning herself between the child and the stranger. I'm sorry, and you are. The woman's perfectly made-up face registers surprise, then amusement. Then something sharper. She looks Isabella up and down with slow, deliberate cruelty. Takes in the curves, the natural hair, the paint-stained clothes. Her lip curls almost imperceptibly. I'm you, Minji. She says it like the name should mean something. Min-ho's fiancé. The word hits Isabella like a physical blow. Fiancé. But he kissed her last night. He said he wanted to keep her. He said, former fiancé. Min-ho's voice cuts through the room. He's emerged from the private elevator, still in last night's suit, looking like he hasn't slept. His eyes find Isabella's immediately, desperate. Emphasis on former. Minji's smile doesn't waver. Darling, we've discussed this. A cooling-off period isn't a breakup. Your mother agrees that once you've processed your grief. My mother doesn't make decisions for me. Families have been planning this since university. The merger depends on. Let me be clear. Min-ho crosses the room to stand beside Isabella, close enough that their arms almost touch. There is no engagement, there is no merger, there is nothing between us. Minji's composure cracks just slightly. She's afraid of him, Isabella realizes. Actually afraid, but fear doesn't stop her. Not the one you should be worried about, Min-ho. I'm trying to help you. Her eyes slide to Isabella with something like pity. Does she know what you are, what this family does? Does she know about the warehouse in Incheon or the bodies in the... Enough. The single word drops the temperature in the room by 10 degrees. Min-ho hasn't raised his voice, hasn't moved. But something in his stance shifts, and suddenly Isabella understands why powerful men fear him, why his name is spoken in whispers. You will not come to my home uninvited again, he says quietly. You will not speak to my daughter. You will not speak to Miss Kingsley. And you will tell whoever sent you that my patience has limits. Minji's face goes white. No one sent me. I came because I care about. You came because the Cho family promised you something if you gathered information on my household. Did you think I wouldn't find out? The silence is devastating. Isabella watches Minji's expression shift from fear to calculation to something like hatred. She's going to destroy you, Minji says softly, her eyes fixed on Isabella. This outsider, this American, she doesn't belong in our world. And when your enemies come for her because they will, you'll realize too late that you chose wrong. My daughter chose her, Min-ho says. And my daughter has never been wrong about anything important. Daughter is 5 years old. My daughter survived something that would break most adults. She sees people clearly, without the filters the rest of us build. He steps closer to Minji, and she takes an involuntary step back. You should be grateful she never chose you. It means I don't have to wonder what I missed. Minji's composure shatters completely. You'll regret this, she hisses. Both of you. The Cho family has been patient, but patience runs out, and when it does, I'll be ready. Min-ho's smile doesn't reach his eyes. Now leave, before I decide that letting you walk out of here is too generous. For a long moment, no one moves. Then Minji turns on her designer heel and stalks to the elevator, the doors close on her venomous expression. Isabella realizes she's been holding her breath. Soo-yeon. Min-ho's voice shifts immediately, gentle again. Are you okay? Soo-yeon hasn't moved from behind Isabella's legs. She's trembling. I don't like her, the little girl whispers. She smells like lying. Min-ho crouches down, opening his arms. Soo-yeon hesitates, then runs to him. He holds her like she might break. Like she's the only thing keeping him tethered to earth. Over his daughter's head, his eyes meet Isabella's. "I should have warned you," he says quietly. "About Minji, about everything." "Yes, you should have. I didn't know she'd come here. I didn't think she'd dare." "Who are the Cho family?" The question hangs in the air. Min-ho's jaw tightens. "Rivals, they control the southern territories. We've had an understanding for years. But lately," he stops. "That's not a conversation for now." "Then when?" "Tonight, after Soo-yeon is asleep." He stands, still holding his daughter. "I'll tell you everything, and then you can decide if you still want to be here." Isabella should be afraid, should be calculating exits. Instead, she steps closer and places her hand on his arm. "I'm not going anywhere," she says, "but I need to know what I'm not going anywhere into." Something shifts in his expression. Relief. Gratitude. And underneath, something fiercer. "Tonight," he promises. "Everything." He keeps his word. That night, after Soo-yeon is asleep with Bun clutched to her chest, Min-ho leads Isabella to his private study. He pours 2 glasses of whiskey and sits across from her, and he tells her the truth. The Kang family has controlled Seoul's northern territories for 3 generations. They deal in everything that lives in shadows: gambling, protection, information, weapons. They've survived by being smarter, more ruthless, more willing to do what others won't. Min-ho took over when his father died 5 years ago. He's consolidated power, eliminated threats, built something that functions almost like a legitimate empire. Almost. "Killed people," he says flatly. "Not directly, not often, but the orders come from me. The blood is on my hands." Isabella absorbs this. She should be horrified, should be running. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve to know who you're choosing, what you're walking into." He meets her eyes. "Because I can't have you the way I want unless you understand the cost." "What's the cost?" "Danger. Enemies who will target you to hurt me. A world where violence is currency and loyalty is the only law." He pauses. "And my mother, who will never truly accept you, though she might eventually stop trying to have you removed. She wants me gone. She wanted Minji." An alliance through marriage, strategy over sentiment. His laugh is bitter. "She doesn't understand that I stopped being capable of strategy the moment you walked into my penthouse." Isabella sets down her glass. "Cho family. Minji said they've been patient. What does that mean?" "It means they're planning something, moving against us." His expression hardens. "Minji has been feeding them information for months. I suspected, but I couldn't prove it until today, when she threatened me. When she revealed she knew things only someone inside could know." He stands, packing to the window. "I've already taken steps. Her access has been revoked. Her family has been informed of her betrayal. She'll be dealt with." "What does dealt with mean?" "It means she'll leave Korea and never return. It means her family's alliance with the Chos will cost them everything they've built." He turns to face her. "It means I protect what's mine." Possessiveness in his voice should frighten her. It doesn't. "And me." Isabella stands, crossing to him. "Am I yours?" "That's not my decision to make." His hand rises to her face, hovering without touching. "That's yours." She thinks about Marcus. About the prosecutor who wore a righteous mask while enabling monsters. About how she trusted him, loved him, believed in him, and nearly lost everything because of it. Min-ho is not Marcus. Min-ho has never pretended to be anything other than what he is. He's shown her his darkness, his grief, his desperate love for his daughter. He's offered her truth even when lies would be easier. And when he looks at her, it's not like he's calculating what he can take. It's like he's afraid of what she might give. "Yes," she says. His hand makes contact, fingers trembling against her jaw. "Yes. Yes, I'm yours. Yes, I'm choosing this." She steps closer, eliminating the distance between them. "Yes to whatever comes next." He kisses her like a man breaking open. This time, neither of them pulls away. His hands move from her face to her waist to her back, learning her curves through the fabric of her dress. She gasps against his mouth, and he swallows the sound, deepening the kiss until thought becomes impossible. "Bedroom," he murmurs against her lips. "Now!" He lifts her like she weighs nothing, carrying her through doorways she doesn't see into a room she barely registers. What she registers is him. The heat of his body, the desperation in his touch, the way he whispers her name like it's the only word that matters. He lays her down on sheets that feel like clouds and follows her, covering her body with his. For a moment he just looks at her, his eyes tracing her face like he's memorizing every detail. "Imagine this," he admits. "Every night since you arrived. Now I get to find out if reality is better." It is. When they finally come together, Isabella understands what he meant about drowning. She doesn't want to be saved either. Afterward, he pulls her against his chest and holds her while their heart beats slow. "Stay," he whispers into her hair. "Not just tonight, not just for Soo-yeon." "I already said yes." "It again." She kisses his chest. Yes, his throat. Yes, his lips. He smiles against her mouth and she feels it all the way to her bones. "I should warn you," he says quietly. "Now that you're mine, I don't let go, ever." "Good." She nestles closer. "I don't want to be let go." They fall asleep tangled together, and for the first time in 8 months, neither of them dreams of loss. The Cho family moves 3 weeks later. Isabella and Soo-yeon are in the park when it happens. It's a beautiful day, warm sun, perfect for the outdoor play therapy that's been so effective. The guards are there, keeping their usual respectful distance. Soo-yeon is chasing butterflies when the first guard falls. Isabella doesn't hear the shot. Silenced weapon, professional work. But she sees the man crumple, sees the spreading red beneath him, and her body moves before her mind catches up. She grabs Soo-yeon and runs. The second guard goes down behind her. The third. Footsteps pounding, closing in, and Isabella's heart threatens to explode, but she doesn't stop, can't stop, because the child in her arms is everything. A van screeches onto the path ahead of her. Isabella skids to a halt, turns. Men in black masks emerge from the trees, cutting off retreat, trapped. "Miss Kingsley." One of the masked men steps forward. His English is accented cold. "Please don't make this difficult. We only want the child." Isabella's arms tighten around Soo-yeon, who has gone completely silent. No screaming, no crying, just that terrible stillness she remembers from the aftermath of her mother's death. "You can't have her." "You don't have a choice." There's always a choice. Isabella's mind races. 4 men visible, at least 2 more in the van. She's unarmed, outmatched, surrounded, but she's not helpless. "Do you know who I am?" she asks, stalling for time. "Do you know whose family you're attacking?" "Kang Min-ho's nanny, American, no one important." "Wrong." Isabella straightens, pulling Soo-yeon closer. "I'm Kang Min-ho's woman, the future mother of his children. And if you touch either of us, he will burn your entire organization to the ground. Every warehouse, every safe house, every family member you've ever loved." The masked man laughs. "Threats from A, not a threat, a promise." Isabella's voice doesn't waver. "The Kang family has survived for 3 generations because they protect what's theirs. And I am theirs, she is theirs. So ask yourself, is whatever the Chos are paying you worth what comes next?" Uncertainty flickers in the visible eyes. Isabella presses her advantage. "You've got maybe 3 minutes before his security team arrives. Less if the guards manage to trigger the emergency signal before you killed them. And when they arrive, they'll find us either safe or taken. If we're safe, maybe your bosses negotiate their way out of war. If we're taken..." She lets the sentence hang. There is no negotiation. There is no mercy. There is only annihilation. The men exchange glances. 3 minutes, one of them mutters. She's right. "We don't have..." "Shut up." The leader steps closer, reaching for Soo-yeon. "We have our orders." Isabella shifts her weight to her back foot, takes a breath, and drives her heel into the leader's instep while simultaneously spinning away from his grasp. It's not a martial arts move. It's desperate, clumsy, born of self-defense classes she took in New York after Marcus started frightening her. But it's enough. The leader staggers. Isabella runs. She doesn't get far. One of the other men catches her arm, yanks her back, and Soo-yeon screams. Finally, terribly, the sound of a child who has already lost one mother. Isabella twists, bites, claws. Fights with everything she has while the world narrows to this single purpose: keep her. Protect her. Don't let them take her. A gunshot. Then another. The man holding Isabella falls, and suddenly there are other men, men in suits she recognizes, men loyal to Min-ho. The masked attackers scatter. Some falling, some fleeing, and through the chaos Isabella sees him. Min-ho, he's running toward her with a gun in his hand and murder in his eyes. "Isabella." His voice cracks on her name. "Soo-yeon." "We're okay." Isabella staggers toward him, Soo-yeon still clutched to her chest. "We're okay, we're..." He reaches them and pulls them both into his arms, the gun still warm against Isabella's back. He's shaking. This man who kills enemies and runs empires, shaking like a leaf. "I thought..." His voice breaks. "The alert came through and I thought..." "I know." Isabella holds him tighter. "I know, but we're okay. I kept her safe." "You fought them." "I wasn't going to let them take her." Min-ho pulls back to look at her. His eyes are wet, wild, full of something that takes her breath away. "You protected my daughter. Our daughter." The words come out before she can stop them. "She's ours now, mine, and I will fight anyone who tries to hurt her." Min-ho stares at her. Then he kisses her, right there in the middle of the blood-soaked park, surrounded by bodies and loyal soldiers and the chaos of a war just declared. Me, he breathes against her lips. Me today, now I can't wait anymore, I can't. He stops, tries to breathe. I almost lost you both, and I realized that nothing else matters. Not the timing, not the complications, nothing, only this, only you. Soo-yeon stirs in Isabella's arms. Her small voice cuts through the chaos. Daddy. Are you asking Bella to be my new mommy? Min-ho laughs, broken and joyful. Yes, baby, I'm asking her to be your mommy. Is that okay? Soo-yeon considers this with devastating seriousness. You have to ask Bun too, she decides. But I think he'll say yes. Isabella laughs through tears. Is that a yes from you? It's been yes since you fixed him. Soo-yeon wraps her small arms around both of them. You're already my mommy, you just didn't know it yet. Min-ho looks at Isabella. Well. Will you marry me? She should think about it. Should consider the implications. Should remember that 48 hours ago, masked men tried to kidnap them, and she's standing in a park full of corpses. None of that matters. Yes. Min-ho's smile is sunrise after endless night. Around them, his men secure the perimeter, call for cleanup, manage the crisis with professional efficiency. But for this one moment, the three of them exist outside of time. A family forged in fire, choosing each other in the midst of chaos. Whatever comes next, they'll face it together. And God help anyone who tries to tear them apart. The war begins that night. Min-ho doesn't come to bed. Isabella wakes at 3 a.m. to find his side cold, the sheets undisturbed. She pulls on a robe and pads through the penthouse, following the murmur of voices to his study. The door is cracked open. Through it, she sees a room full of men she doesn't recognize. Maps spread across every surface, Min-ho at the center like a general preparing for battle. His voice carries clearly. Cho compound has 3 access points. Here, here, and here. Their security rotates every 4 hours, but they're weakest at the eastern gate during shift change. The family? Yi-sung's voice. Do we have confirmation on locations? Cho Young-woo is at the main residence. His sons are scattered, 1 in Busan, 2 at the secondary compound. Min-ho's finger traces a line on the map. We hit all locations simultaneously. No warning, no survivors in leadership positions. Isabella's breath catches, no survivors, she knew what he was, he told her. But hearing it, the cold calculation in his voice, the casual discussion of mass murder, the floorboard creaks beneath her foot, every head in the room turns. Hands move toward weapons. Then Min-ho sees her and his expression shifts from predator to something softer. It's fine, he tells his men. Give us a moment. They file out silently, avoiding her eyes. The door closes behind them. Min-ho crosses to her, reaching for her hands. She lets him take them, but she doesn't step closer. You heard, he says. It's not a question. I heard. Isabella, no survivors in leadership positions. She keeps her voice steady. That's what you said. They tried to take our daughter. They would have killed you. His grip tightens. I will not let that stand. Not asking you to let it stand. I'm asking you to look at me while you talk about killing people. I'm asking you not to hide it. Something flickers in his expression, surprise, then understanding. You want to know. I want to know all of it, not just the parts you think I can handle. She steps closer, finally. You said you'd tell me everything. This is everything. For a long moment, he just looks at her. Then he nods. Sit down. This will take a while. He tells her about the Cho family's history, generations of rivalry, territories contested and reclaimed, bodies buried on both sides. He tells her about the uneasy truce his father negotiated, and how Cho Young-woo has been testing its limits since Min-ho took over. He tells her about Minji's betrayal, the information she funneled, the attack that was planned for weeks before it happened. They knew about you, he says quietly. Knew you were important to me. They were watching, waiting for an opportunity. How did they know? Minji, she reported everything. Your routine, Soo-yeon's habits, the guards' schedules. His jaw tightens. I trusted her family's alliance with mine. I was wrong. Where is she now? Switzerland, under surveillance. He pauses. She'll stay there unless she becomes a threat again. If she does, you'll kill her. Neutralize her, however that needs to happen. Isabella absorbs this. The man sitting across from her has killed people, will kill more. And she's going to marry him anyway. What do you need from me? She asks. The question surprises him. What do you mean? In this war, what do you need me to do? Nothing. Stay safe. Stay with Soo-yeon. Let me handle. I'm not a decoration, Min-ho. I'm not something you put on a shelf and protect. She leans forward. You said I'm yours. That means I'm part of this family, including the parts that aren't pretty. So tell me, what do you need? He stares at her like he's seeing her for the first time. Need you to trust me, he says finally. When I make decisions that seem cruel, trust that I'm doing what's necessary. When I come home covered in blood, don't ask questions I can't answer. In return, I will never lie to you, never hide what I am, and never ever let anyone hurt you or our daughter. Isabella considers this. It's not a normal relationship. It's not even a healthy one, probably, but it's honest. And honesty, she's learned, is rarer than diamonds. Kay, I trust you. She takes his hand. Now go plan your war. I'll be here when it's over. He pulls her into his arms and holds her like she's the only solid thing in a shifting world. Love you, he whispers. Have I said that yet? Because I love you more than I knew I could love anything. I love you too. She presses her lips to his throat. Now go be terrifying. I'll be here. He laughs, broken and grateful. Then he lets her go and returns to his generals. The attack happens 48 hours later. Isabella doesn't witness it. She stays in the penthouse with Soo-yeon, watching movies and making popcorn and pretending everything is normal. But she feels the moment it begins, a tension in the air, a held breath, the sense that somewhere in the city her future is being decided in blood. Min-ho returns at dawn. He looks like death. Gray-faced, hollow-eyed, blood on his shirt that isn't his own. He stands in the doorway of the penthouse like he's not sure he belongs there anymore. Isabella goes to him. Is it over? It's over. His voice is hoarse. Cho Young-woo is dead. His sons are dead or scattered. Their organization is finished. Your people. Losses. 7 men, 3 of them married. I'll have to. He stops, sways slightly. Isabella catches him, guides him to the couch. He collapses against the cushions like his strings have been cut. Funerals will need to be arranged. The widows compensated. The children. Tomorrow. She kneels before him, taking his blood-stained hands in hers. That's tomorrow. Right now you need to rest. Can't, there's too much. Min-ho. She frames his face with her hands, forcing him to meet her eyes. You just won a war. You protected your family. You can take 12 hours to sleep before you save the world again. Something breaks in his expression. The mask he wears, the control he maintains, it cracks, and underneath she sees exhaustion so profound it borders on despair. I don't deserve you, he whispers. Probably not, but you have me anyway. She kisses his forehead. Now come to bed. Soo-yeon is sleeping in our room. She wanted to wait for you. She'll want to see that you're okay. He follows her like a sleepwalker. Soo-yeon is curled in the center of the massive bed. Bun clutched to her chest. She wakes when Min-ho lies down beside her and her small arms immediately wrap around his neck. Daddy, you came back. I told you I would. You're always supposed to come back. Promise. I promise, baby, always. Isabella slides in on Soo-yeon's other side, creating a protective cocoon around the child. Min-ho's hand finds hers across the pillow. Thank you, he mouths silently. What? For staying, for being here, for not running when you saw what I really am. I saw what you really are the first night, when you cried in front of me. She squeezes his hand. The rest is just what you do. This is who you are. He falls asleep holding her hand, and she watches over him until dawn fully breaks. The Kang family has won, but the cost is written in the shadows under Min-ho's eyes. The call from FBI agent Chen comes 3 days later. Isabella is alone in the library when her phone buzzes with an unknown American number. She almost ignores it. Then something makes her answer. Miss Kingsley, this is Agent Sarah Chen with the FBI's International Corruption Unit. Do you have a moment? Isabella's blood goes cold. What is this about? Marcus Webb. We've been building a case against him for 2 years, and we understand you have information that could help us. Name hits like a physical blow. Marcus. After everything she escaped, after the ocean she put between them, he's still reaching for her. I live in Korea now. I'm getting married. I can't. We can arrange video deposition. You wouldn't need to return to the States. Agent Chen's voice softens. I know what he did to you, Miss Kingsley. I know he destroyed your career and drove you out of the country, but he's still doing it to others, still enabling traffickers, still using his position to protect monsters. Isabella closes her eyes. If you testify, we can stop him, permanently. If I don't, then he walks. The other witnesses are too scared. You're the only one with the knowledge and the courage to take him down. Silence stretches. Isabella thinks about the women Marcus helped traffic, the children, the victims who never got justice because Marcus's friends made sure of it. She thinks about Soo-yeon, who lost her mother and almost lost everything else. She thinks about the person she wants to be, the mother she wants to be. Send me the details, she says. I'll testify. Thank you. And Miss Kingsley, be careful. Webb still has connections. Some of them reach across oceans. So do mine. She hangs up and sits in the silence for a long moment. Then she goes to find Min-ho. He listens without interrupting. His expression shifts through surprise, anger, calculation, and finally something that looks like pride. You want to do this. I need to do this. He's still hurting people, and I have a chance to stop him. Could bring danger to our door if he has connections here. I know. Isabella takes his hands. But I can't marry you with this hanging over me. I can't start a new life while he's still out there destroying lives. I need to be free of him, really free. Min-ho is quiet for a long moment. Then we do it together, he says finally. You testify, I make sure he can't retaliate. How? His smile is cold. I've already been dismantling his network. This just accelerates the timeline. He pulls her close. By the time you finish testifying, Marcus Webb will have nothing left. No allies. No protection. No power. And then the American justice system can have what's left of him. You do that for me. Do anything for you. He tips her chin up, making her meet his eyes. Haven't you figured that out yet? She kisses him instead of answering. Some things don't need words. The deposition is scheduled for 5 days before the wedding. Isabella prepares in Min-ho's study, surrounded by legal counsel and evidence files and the accumulated weight of everything Marcus did. Lawyers coach her on procedure, on presentation, on staying calm under pressure. She doesn't need the coaching. She's been waiting years for this. The video call begins at 9 a.m. Seoul time. Agent Chen appears on screen with 2 other federal officials, their faces professionally neutral. State your full name for the record. Isabella Marie Kingsley. Your relationship to Marcus. Fiancé. I ended the relationship when I discovered his involvement in criminal activities. Questions come steadily. Isabella answers everything. The documents she found. The conversations she overheard. The names, dates, amounts. 3 hours pass. Then Agent Chen asks the question that matters. Miss Kingsley, can you describe the specific incident that led you to report Mr. Webb's activities? Isabella takes a breath. It was March 15th. I came home early from work and found Marcus in our apartment with 2 men I didn't recognize. They were discussing a shipment. I didn't understand at first. I thought it was case-related. Then one of them mentioned the girls. He said they needed to be moved before the inspection. Marcus told him to use the warehouse in Queens, the one the DA's office wasn't watching. What did you do? I hid in the hallway until they left. Then I went through Marcus's files. His real files, not the ones he kept for work. I found records of payments, names of traffickers he was protecting, photographs of victims. Her voice hardens. Children, some of them were children. You reported this to Mr. Webb's superiors. I reported it to Internal Affairs. I reported it to the FBI tip line. I reported it to 3 different journalists. Isabella's hands clench in her lap. Nobody did anything. Marcus's friends made sure of that. And then he came after me. You describe how Mr. Webb retaliated. My grants were revoked. My professional references disappeared. I was evicted from my apartment on a code violation that didn't exist. And then he came to see me personally to tell me what would happen if I didn't drop it. What did he say? He said accidents happen to women who don't know their place. He said his friends could make me disappear. He said no one would believe me because I was nobody, and he was a prosecutor with connections in every agency that mattered. The room is silent. That when you left the country, that's when I ran for my life. Isabella looks directly into the camera. I was terrified, broken, I thought he'd won, but I kept copies of everything, dates, names, account numbers. I kept it because I knew someday someone would ask. Chen nods slowly. Miss Kingsley, your testimony corroborates evidence we've gathered independently, combined with other witnesses who have recently come forward. A pointed pause. We have enough to move forward with formal charges. Webb will be arrested within the week. Isabella exhales. The weight she's carried for 18-month shifts lifts, begins to dissolve. Thank you, Agent Chen says. And congratulations on your upcoming wedding. Screen goes dark. Isabella sits in the silence, trembling. Then Min-ho is there, pulling her into his arms. It's done, she whispers. It's really done. You were magnificent. He kisses her hair. Brave and fierce and completely devastating. I was terrified. That's what makes it brave. He pulls back to look at her. How do you feel? Free. The word surprises her with its truth. I feel free. Good. His smile is soft. Because you deserve to be free, and anyone who tries to cage you again answers to me. She laughs through tears. Love you. I love you too. He wipes her tears with gentle thumbs. Now, shall we plan a wedding? Min-ho's mother arrives the next morning. Park Yoonji doesn't knock. She walks into the penthouse like she owns it, which technically she partly does, and surveys the scene with cool displeasure. Soo-yeon is playing on the floor with Isabella, some elaborate game involving Bun Bun and an army of stuffed animals. Min-ho is at his desk, reviewing security reports. The domestic tableau seems to offend Yoonji on a fundamental level. "We need to talk," she announces. "Privately." Min-ho doesn't look up. "Whatever you need to say, you can say in front of Isabella. This is family business." Is family. Is a stranger you've known for 2 months. A foreigner with no connections, no breeding, no understanding of our world. Yoonji's eyes cut to Isabella with barely concealed contempt. "I've tolerated this infatuation because I believed you would come to your senses. I was wrong." Isabella rises slowly, placing herself between Yoonji and Soo-yeon. "Mrs. Park, if you have concerns about me, I'm happy to discuss them, but not in front of the child." Yoonji's eyebrow rises. "You presume to dictate terms in my family's home?" "I presume to protect my daughter from adult conflict. That's not dictating terms, that's parenting." Word hangs in the air. "My daughter." Min-ho finally looks up. "Mother, Isabella has asked you a reasonable question. Whatever you came to say. You can say it in my study, or you can leave." Yoonji's expression flickers, surprise, then calculation, then something that might almost be respect. "Well, your study, both of you." They leave Soo-yeon with the security team and follow Yoonji to Min-ho's private office. The moment the door closes, she turns on them. "Wedding is a mistake." "Your objection is noted," Min-ho says calmly, "and overruled. You haven't heard my reasons." "I don't need to. I'm marrying Isabella. That's final." "Even if it puts the entire organization at risk." Yoonji's voice sharpens. "The other families are watching, the old alliances, the traditional powers. They see an outsider rising to the position of matriarch and they see weakness. They see change. They see opportunity. The Chos are destroyed, yes, but others will rise. And they'll see this," she gestures dismissively at Isabella, "as proof that Kang Min-ho can be manipulated, seduced, made stupid by desire. Then they'll learn otherwise." "What cost?" "How many men will die teaching that lesson?" Yoonji steps closer. "I've sacrificed everything for this family, my marriage, my happiness, my sons, both of them in different ways, and I will not watch you destroy what we've built because you can't control your—" "Enough." Min-ho's voice cracks like a whip. Yoonji falls silent, her mouth a thin line. "You sacrificed nothing for this family. You made choices that served your own ambition and called them duty." His voice is quiet, deadly. "Married my father for power. You raised me to be a weapon, and when my brother defied you, you drove him so far away that I don't even know if he's alive. That's not. I spent my entire life being the son you wanted. Cold, strategic, controllable, and it nearly killed me." He steps forward. "Then my wife died, and I realized that I'd wasted years being half alive, doing what you expected instead of what I wanted. No more." Yoonji's composure cracks. "You think this woman is different. You think she won't betray you like. She fought 6 armed men to protect my daughter." Min-ho's voice shakes with barely contained emotion. "She stood over Soo-yeon's body and dared them to try. She could have run, should have run. Instead, she fought. And you stand here telling me she's not worthy of this family. Telling you that love makes you blind. And I'm telling you that blind is how I felt before I met her." He reaches for Isabella's hand. "She woke me up. She gave Soo-yeon her voice back. She's the best thing that's ever happened to either of us. And if you can't see that, if you can't accept her, then maybe you should reconsider your place in our lives." Silence is deafening. Yoonji stares at her son like she's never seen him before. Then slowly her gaze shifts to Isabella. "You love him." It's not a question, but Isabella answers anyway. "More than I knew I could love anyone." "My granddaughter." "She's already my daughter. Blood doesn't matter. Blood always matters. In this world, in this family, then I'll bleed for her." Isabella's voice doesn't waver. "I already have, and I'll do it again as many times as necessary for as long as I live." Something shifts in Yoonji's expression. The contempt fades, replaced by something more complex, something almost like recognition. "You have spine," she says quietly. "More than I expected. I had to grow one the hard way." "The deposition, I know about that too." Yoonji's eyes narrow. "The American prosecutor. He threatened you, destroyed your career, drove you across an ocean. And instead of hiding, you testified. You put yourself at risk. Someone had to stop him. Someone always has to. The question is whether you're willing to be that someone over and over for as long as it takes." Yoonji pauses. "This family asks that of its women, endless sacrifice, constant vigilance. Are you prepared for that?" "I'm prepared for anything as long as I'm not doing it alone." Looks at Min-ho, then back at Isabella. "Wedding will proceed," she says finally. "I'll make the necessary arrangements with the traditional families. They'll accept what I tell them to accept. I want something in return." Yoonji's attention fixes on Isabella. "Time alone with you, not to threaten or manipulate. I can see that wouldn't work anyway. To talk, to understand who my son has chosen." Isabella glances at Min-ho. He gives a slight nod. Okay, she says. Tomorrow after breakfast. Yoonji nods once sharply. Then she turns and walks out without another word. Min-ho exhales. That was terrifying. Your mother is terrifying. Grows on you. Like mold, he laughs, a real laugh surprised out of him. I love you, have I mentioned that? Not in the last hour. Grave oversight. He pulls her close. I love you, I love you, I love you. I love you too. She presses her face to his chest. Now let's go make sure your mother hasn't traumatized our daughter. Daughter, the words feel like coming home. The conversation with Yoonji happens the next morning. They meet in the private garden on the penthouse terrace. Neutral ground, beautiful surroundings, no weapons allowed, Isabella assumes. Yoonji is already seated when Isabella arrives, tea service laid out between them. Sit, Yoonji says. Pour yourself tea. Isabella sits, pour tea, waits. You surprised me, Yoonji says finally. I expected something else, someone easier to dismiss. Been dismissed before, it didn't take. No. I imagine it didn't. Yoonji sips her tea. My son told me about your past, the prosecutor, trafficking, everything you sacrificed to tell the truth. Everything I sacrificed to survive. They're the same thing in this family. Yoonji sets down her cup. I'm going to tell you something I've never told anyone, not my sons, not my late husband, no one. Isabella waits. I was like you once. Young, idealistic, in love with a man my family considered unsuitable. Yoonji's voice is flat, carefully controlled. His name was Park Jin-soo. He was a teacher, kind, gentle, everything my father despised. What happened? I got pregnant. And my father gave me a choice, marry Kang Di-young, raise the child as his heir, and never see Jin-soo again or be cut off from everything. Family, money, protection, everything. Isabella's breath catches. Min-ho's older brother, the one who left. The one I drove away. Because every time I looked at him, I saw what I'd lost. What I'd chosen to lose. Yoonji's mask cracks just for a moment. I became the thing my father wanted me to be, cold, strategic, controllable, and it destroyed everything I loved. Are you telling me this? Because I see the same choice in front of you, the same fork in the road. Yoonji leans forward. You can become what this family demands, hard, ruthless, willing to sacrifice everything, or you can fight to stay yourself and risk being destroyed by it. What do you want me to choose? I want you to choose something I was too afraid to choose. Yoonji's eyes burn with sudden intensity. I want you to prove that it's possible to be strong and soft at the same time, that love doesn't have to make you weak, that there's another way to survive this life. You want me to be what you couldn't. I want you to save my son from becoming what I became. Yoonji's voice breaks on the last word. He's already halfway there, cold, controlled. Killing pieces of himself to be what the family needs. But when he's with you, when he looks at you, he's alive. Yoonji reaches across the table and for the first time touches Isabella's hand. Keep him alive, please, even when it's hard, even when he pushes you away. Keep him alive. Isabella looks at this woman, this cold, calculating, terrifying woman, and sees something she never expected, a mother, broken, damaged, but still, underneath everything, a mother. I will, Isabella says. I promise, squeezes her hand once, then releases it. Her mask slides back into place as smoothly as it dropped. Good, then we understand each other. She rises. The wedding will be in 3 days. I've arranged everything. All you have to do is show up. Will you be there? Something flickers in Yoonji's expression, almost a smile. Someone has to make sure you don't trip over your dress. She walks away without looking back. Isabella stays in the garden for a long time, watching the sun rise over Seoul, thinking about choices and sacrifice and the kind of love that survives everything. 3 days. And then forever. The night before her wedding, Isabella receives a message that stops her heart. She's alone in the bridal suite at the Kang family estate, surrounded by white silk and pale pink roses when her phone buzzes. Unknown number. American area code. She should ignore it. Should let it go to voicemail. Should call for security. Instead, she answers. Hello, Isabella. His voice hasn't changed. Smooth, confident. The voice that whispered lies in her ear for 18 months. Marcus, you've been busy, testifying against me, hiding behind your Korean gangster, playing house with his little girl. His laugh is soft, dangerous. Did you really think I wouldn't find a way to reach you? The FBI arrested you. You're supposed to be. In custody, I was, until about 6 hours ago when a very expensive lawyer found a very convenient technicality. His voice drops. I'm out, Isabella, and I'm coming for you. Blood turns to ice. Lying. Agent Chen would have. Agent Chen is dealing with the fallout of a compromised case. Evidence mishandled, chain of custody broken, all those witnesses you inspired, suddenly having second thoughts. Marcus's smile is audible. Did you really think your testimony alone could destroy me? I've been building protection for years. The people I work with, the people I protect, they don't abandon their own. Trafficked children, you're a monster. A businessman. And business is about leverage. His voice sharpens. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave that estate tonight. Alone. You're going to meet me at an address I'll send you. And we're going to have a conversation about how you're going to spend the rest of your life making up for the damage you've caused. If I don't, then your little stepdaughter-to-be is going to learn what happens when mommy makes bad choices. I have people in Seoul, Isabella. People who can reach anyone, anywhere. His voice turns silky. Even a 5-year-old sleeping with a stuffed rabbit in her pretty pink bedroom. Isabella's hand shakes so badly she almost drops the phone. You wouldn't hurt a child. I've hurt lots of children. That's the business, remember? The one you tried to expose. Marcus laughs. So here's your choice. Come to me willingly or watch everyone you love suffer the consequences. Min-ho will kill you. Ho will be too busy attending funerals to worry about me. I have people positioned throughout that estate. One wrong move and this wedding becomes a massacre. Isabella closes her eyes. Think you're not helpless anymore. What do you want, really? I want you to disappear, permanently. I want your testimony invalidated because you fled the country with your Korean boyfriend, clearly unreliable as a witness. I want my life back. If I do what you ask, if I come to you, then the little girl lives, the gangster lives, everyone lives. His voice softens, almost gentle. I'm not unreasonable, Isabella. I never wanted to hurt you. You forced my hand when you started talking to the FBI. Just fix what you broke and this can all be over. Isabella's mind races. Marcus is lying. He has to be lying. There's no way he has people inside the Kang estate. Min-ho's security is the best money can buy. But what if he's not lying? What if he does have people positioned, waiting? What if Soo-yeon? Fine, she says, her voice steady despite the terror clawing at her chest. Send me the address, I'll come. Smart girl. I knew you'd see the reason. Marcus's satisfaction is palpable. 1 hour alone. If I see security, if I even suspect you've told anyone, the order goes out. He hangs up. Isabella stares at her phone for exactly 3 seconds. Then she moves. She doesn't call Min-ho directly. Marcus might be monitoring her phone. Instead, she goes to the window, opens it, and drops a silk scarf to the ground below. A prearranged signal, established after the park attack. Something is wrong. Come now, then she sits on the bed, takes out her laptop, and starts writing. She's halfway through the letter when the door bursts open. Min-ho enters like a thunderstorm, Yi-sung and 2 guards behind him. His eyes sweep the room, checking for threats before landing on her. The signal. What happened? Marcus called. Isabella's voice is calm, the calm that comes from having a plan. He says he's out of custody. He says he has people inside the estate, ready to attack during the wedding. He wants me to come to him alone or he'll hurt Soo-yeon. Min-ho's expression doesn't change, but something behind his eyes goes very cold. Where's Soo-yeon now? In her room. I couldn't risk. Yi-sung, my daughter. Now, Yi-sung runs. He's lying, Min-ho says, but his voice is taut. He has to be lying, our security. Your security was penetrated before. Kwon-di-young. The Chos could get someone inside, Marcus could too. Chos had months to plan. Marcus has been in custody. Marcus has been building protection for years. His own words. Isabella stands, crossing to him. I'm not saying he's telling the truth. I'm saying we can't assume he's lying. Min-ho is silent for a long moment. Then he turns to his remaining guards. Full lockdown. Every person on this estate is to be accounted for and verified. Anyone who joined staff in the last 6 months, detain them. Oh, the guards run. If he does have people inside, Min-ho says quietly, a lockdown will expose them. They'll either run or fight. If they fight, they'll lose. His jaw tightens. But people might die, our people. I know. You still triggered the signal instead of sneaking out alone. I thought about it. Isabella meets his eyes. For about 3 seconds. Then I remembered who I am now. I'm not the woman who runs anymore. I'm not the woman who handles everything alone because she doesn't trust anyone. What are you? Yours and you're mine, and we face things together. Min-ho pulls her into his arms, crushing her against his chest. If anything had happened to you, nothing happened. Nothing is going to happen. She pulls back to look at him. But we need to end this. Tonight, Marcus will keep coming unless we stop him permanently. I know. His expression hardens. And I know exactly how to stop him. How? His smile is cold enough to freeze steel. We give him what he wants. The plan comes together in under an hour. Isabella will go to the address Marcus provided, but not alone. She'll wear a tracking device and a hidden microphone. Min-ho's men will surround the location, invisible, waiting for the order to move in. I don't like it, Yi-sung says flatly. Using her as bait. Not bait, I'm the trap. Isabella adjusts the wire hidden beneath her coat. Marcus thinks I'm scared, compliant. The Isabella he remembers would have crumbled at his threats. He's not expecting the Isabella I've become. What has she become? Min-ho asks quietly. Someone who fights. Damn right. A state lockdown has revealed nothing. No moles, no infiltrators, no hidden threats. Either Marcus was bluffing or his people are better hidden than anyone anticipated. Either way, there's only one way to end this. Remember, Min-ho says, his hands on her shoulders. Keep him talking. Get him to confirm the threats. The moment you feel unsafe, I say the word and you come in. Come in whether you say the word or not. The moment I think you're in danger, I'll be fine. She kisses him softly. I've faced worse than Marcus Webb. When? Every day I spent with him not knowing what he really was. She pulls back. At least now I know, and knowing is power. Min-ho looks at her like he's memorizing every detail of her face. Come back to me. Always. She walks out into the night and the darkness swallows her whole. The address leads to a warehouse in an industrial district of Seoul. Abandoned, isolated, exactly the kind of place where bad things happen without witnesses. Isabella approaches on foot, her heart pounding but her steps steady. The wire is cold against her skin. Somewhere in the darkness, Min-ho's men are watching, waiting, ready. She's not alone. The warehouse door is unlocked. She pushes it open and steps inside. Marcus is waiting. He looks different than she remembers, thinner, harder, with a feral edge that prison has sharpened. Two men flank him, Korean, armed, watching her with flat eyes. You came. Marcus smiles like they're old friends. I knew you would. You always did know how to make the smart choice. I came because you threatened a child. I threatened leverage. There's a difference. He steps closer, studying her. You look good, different. Korea agrees with you. What do you want, Marcus? I already told you. I want my life back. I want you to recant your testimony, mental breakdown, misunderstanding, whatever story you need to tell. I want the FBI to close the case and leave me alone. Then you disappear. New name, new country, somewhere I'll never have to think about you again. His smile turns cold. Unless you'd prefer the alternative, which is, you disappear anyway, just more permanently. Isabella forces herself not to look at the armed men. Not to think about how quickly they could end her. You said you have people inside the Kang estate, that you could hurt Min-ho, hurt Soo-yeon. I said what I needed to say to get you here. Marcus laughs. Do you really think I have that kind of reach? I'm a prosecutor with some useful connections, not a supervillain. The threat was enough. It's always enough with you. Relief floods through her and rage. You were bluffing. I was persuading. There's a difference. You threatened to murder a 5-year-old girl. I threatened to motivate you. Marcus shrugs. It worked. Isabella's hands clench at her sides. Here's what's going to happen now. You're going to sign a statement recanting your testimony. My lawyers have it prepared. Then you're going to record a video explaining that you lied because you were angry about our breakup. And then, no, Marcus blinks. What? I said no. Isabella's voice is steady. I'm not recanting anything, I'm not signing anything, and I'm definitely not recording a video. Isabella. Marcus's voice turns dangerous. I don't think you understand your position here. You're alone in a warehouse with men who will do whatever I tell them to do. I'm not alone. She says the word, and the warehouse doors explode inward. Min-ho's men pour through every entrance, weapons drawn, moving with the precision of soldiers. Marcus's guards reach for their guns and are immediately disarmed, driven to their knees, neutralized. Marcus stares in disbelief as the warehouse fills with black-clad figures. What the? I told you. Isabella's smile is cold. I'm not the woman you remember. Min-ho emerges from the chaos like a demon from smoke. He walks toward Marcus with the slow, deliberate pace of a predator who knows its prey can't escape. His face is expressionless, but his eyes are murder. Marcus Webb. His voice is conversational, almost pleasant. I've been looking forward to meeting you. The hell, I'm the man whose family you threatened. Min-ho stops inches from Marcus, close enough to touch. I'm the man whose daughter you used as leverage, and I'm the man who's going to teach you what happens when you threaten things that belong to me. Marcus's bravado cracks. Listen, I don't know what she told you, but she told me everything, about the trafficking, the threats, the years you spent destroying her life because she had the courage to tell the truth. Min-ho's hand shoots out, grabbing Marcus by the throat. Do you know what I do to men who hurt people I love? Marcus chokes, clawing at Min-ho's hand. I could kill you right now. No one would stop me. No one would blame me. Your body would disappear into the Han River and the world would assume you fled prosecution. Min-ho. Isabella's voice cuts through the violence. Don't! Min-ho's grip tightens. He deserves it. Deserves worse. But I don't want you to become a murderer for me. She steps closer, placing her hand on his arm. I want him to face trial. Real trial with his threats on tape, with witnesses who can't be intimidated. I want him to lose everything the way he tried to make me lose everything. It's not enough. It's justice, the legal kind. She squeezes his arm. Please, for me. An endless moment Min-ho doesn't move, then slowly he releases Marcus's throat. Marcus crumples to the floor, gasping. Right, Min-ho says quietly. Death would be too easy. He crouches beside Marcus, speaking directly into his ear. Instead, you're going to live in a cell for the rest of your miserable existence, and every day you're going to remember that you lost. That the woman you tried to destroy became untouchable. That she has everything you wanted, power, family, love, and you have nothing. He stands. Take him. Contact Agent Chen, tell her we have a gift. Min-ho's men drag Marcus away. Isabella exhales, and all the strength she's been holding onto drains out of her at once. Her knees buckle. Min-ho catches her. Got you, I've got you. It's over. Her voice breaks. It's really over. It's really over. He holds her tight. He'll never touch you again. No one will ever touch you again. She clings to him in the middle of the warehouse, surrounded by the debris of her past, finally free, finally home. The wedding happens the next morning, not the grand event Min-ho's mother planned. That will come later, when the traditional families need to be impressed and alliances need to be displayed. This is something smaller, something real. They stand in the estate's private garden, surrounded by cherry blossoms and soft morning light. Soo-yeon is the flower girl, throwing petals with perfect technique, her face radiant with joy. Min-ho wears a simple black suit. Isabella wears a dress of ivory silk that Yoonji helped her choose, a peace offering, wrapped in fabric. The minister speaks words that blur together in Isabella's memory. She's too busy looking at Min-ho, at the tears streaming down his face, at the way his voice breaks when he says, I do. Do you, Isabella Marie Kingsley, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? To love and cherish for as long as you both shall live? I do. Then by the power vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife. Min-ho kisses her like the world is ending and beginning all at once. Soo-yeon cheers, throwing more petals. Yoonji, watching from the garden's edge, wipes her eyes when she thinks no one is looking. And somewhere far away, Marcus Webb sits in a cell, his empire destroyed, his threats empty, his future as bleak as the walls surrounding him. Justice, Isabella thinks. Real justice. It tastes like victory. The reception is a blur of champagne and congratulations. But the moment Isabella cherishes most comes later, when the guests have gone and the three of them are alone in the penthouse. Soo-yeon is curled between them on the massive bed, bun tucked under her arm. Her eyes are drooping, exhausted from excitement. Mommy. Her voice is sleepy, soft. Yes, baby. Are we a real family now? Isabella looks at Min-ho, whose eyes are bright with unshed tears. We've been a real family since you chose me in that interview room, Isabella says. The wedding just made it official. Soo-yeon snuggles closer. Because I don't ever want you to leave. I'm not going anywhere, ever. Promise. I promise, cross my heart. Soo-yeon nods, satisfied, her eyes close. Within minutes, she's asleep. Min-ho reaches across the pillow and takes Isabella's hand. Thank you, he whispers. What? For choosing us. For staying when you could have run. For being brave enough to fight and kind enough to heal. His voice breaks. For saving us both. You saved me too. Then we're even. We're not even. Isabella smiles. We're together, there's a difference. He laughs softly, pressing her hand to his lips. Forever, forever. They fall asleep holding hands, their daughter between them, the night wrapping around them like a blessing. Outside, soul glitters like a promise. Inside, a family born from fire dreams of peace, 1 year later. Isabella stands in the nursery doorway, watching Min-ho rock their newborn son. The baby, Kang Min-ho, named for hope and light, sleeps peacefully in his father's arms. Min-ho looks up and catches her watching, and his face transforms into something so tender it makes her chest ache. He has your nose, he says softly. He has your stubbornness. I can tell already. That's not, he stops, considering. Okay, that's probably accurate. Soo-yeon appears beside Isabella, now 6 years old and the most devoted big sister imaginable. Can I hold him? After breakfast, Isabella says. Mommy needs coffee first. Mommy always needs coffee. Mommy is very tired because your brother doesn't understand that nighttime is for sleeping. Soo-yeon considers this with characteristic seriousness. Then she holds up Bun Bun. Bun Bun can teach him. Bun Bun is very good at sleeping. Min-ho laughs, rising carefully to transfer Jun-ho to his crib. Bun Bun can certainly try. They move to the kitchen as a family, Jun-ho in his bassinet, Soo-yeon helping Isabella measure coffee grounds, Min-ho making pancakes with the focused determination of a man who learned to cook from YouTube tutorials. I have news, he says casually, flipping a pancake. Marcus Webb's appeal was denied yesterday. His sentence stands. Isabella pauses. She hasn't thought about Marcus in months. The wound has finally healed, leaving only a faint scar. Good, good. He's in my past, you're my present. She crosses to him, wrapping her arms around his waist from behind. I'd rather think about the future. What does the future look like? Isabella considers the question. A year ago, she was a refugee hiding in a foreign country, convinced she would spend her life running from shadows. Now she's standing in a penthouse in Seoul, married to a man who would burn worlds for her, mother to 2 beautiful children, part of a family that chose her as fiercely as she chose them. Future looks like this, she says finally. Pancakes and coffee and a 6-year-old who thinks stuffed rabbits can teach bobbies to sleep. That sounds perfect. It's not perfect, it's better. She kisses his shoulder. It's real. Min-ho turns off the stove, turns in her arms, and kisses her properly. Love you, he murmurs against her lips. Have I mentioned that today? Not yet, you're slipping. Grave oversight, I love you. Kiss, I love you. Kiss, I love you. Yua, Soo-yeon announces. You're being gross. Being romantic, Min-ho corrects. There's a difference. Looks the same. Isabella laughs, pulling back from her husband to scoop up her daughter. Someday, when you're much, much older, you'll understand. When I'm as old as you. Hey, when you're at least 30, Min-ho says seriously. Until then, romance is gross, house rules. Okay, Daddy. Soo-yeon wriggles down and runs to check on her brother. Jun-ho, I'm going to teach you about Bun Bun. Min-ho and Isabella watch her go. We made that, Min-ho says softly. That amazing, ridiculous, perfect kid. Made a lot of things. Isabella leans into him. A family, a home, a life I never thought I could have. Any regrets? She thinks about the path that led her here. The pain and the fear and the endless running. The moment a little girl pointed at her and chose her for no reason other than instinct and hope. One, Min-ho pulls her close. Because I'm planning to spend the next 50 years giving you more reasons to stay. Only 50, to start. We'll renegotiate after that. She laughs, and he swallows the sound with a kiss. Outside, Seoul awakens to a new day. Inside, 2 people who found each other against impossible odds hold each other in a kitchen that smells like coffee and pancakes, surrounded by the beautiful chaos of family. This is not the end of their story, but it is the moment that defines everything after. A little girl chose a stranger became a mother became a wife, and a family forged in fire became something unbreakable. That's the power of choice. That's the power of love. That's the power of staying when everything tells you to run. This is their happily ever after, and they've earned every single moment of it. Thank you for watching, besties. If this story made your heart race, your eyes water, and your soul believe in love against all odds, please hit that like button, share with everyone who needs to see it, and subscribe for more Black and Korea stories. Drop a comment telling me your favorite moment. Was it Soo-yeon choosing Isabella? The warehouse confrontation? That final kitchen scene? Your support means everything. Until next time, keep believing in love that crosses every boundary and fights every battle. See you soon.